I'm just honored to be asked to be a part of this. I'm in awe of the work of this organization, and it's appropriate that the Center for Media and Democracy is Wisconsin-based. It's based here in Madison. The people that work here are all from Wisconsin. Last summer, they issued a report which began to show the spotlight on ALEC all over the country, and today the long-awaited exposure of ALEC's involvement here in the state of Wisconsin, and it is extensive by any measure. I think Lisa and others who looked at this would have to say that ALEC's involvement in the state of Wisconsin is very high, if not the highest of any state, certainly in the top 10 in terms of the involvement of legislators in the American Legislative Exchange Council. It's true that ALEC has been around for a long time, but it's only been in the last year or two that we've really seen the extent of their involvement and the tentacles that have been placed here in Wisconsin, and at a time when I think there's a great deal of concern on the part of many citizens about Wisconsin and the influences from outside of Wisconsin, whether it's during the current recall campaign and out-of-state special interest money that's flowing into our election, or in the case of ALEC, out-of-state influence through corporations on our legislation. And the fact that 49 of the 132 state legislators in Wisconsin are ALEC members is really quite an astonishing number in my view. The concern of common cause in Wisconsin, and national common cause, has been really in two areas with regard to specific things that we think need to be looked at. Number one, the attorney generals of every state in the United States, and today Attorney General Van Hollen, J.B. Van Hollen, are being asked to investigate whether or not ALEC is truly what it says it is, and that is a non-lobbying organization that is entitled to enjoy tax-exempt status in the state of Wisconsin. We know from this report and from documents that have been secured from ALEC through the Freedom of Information Act, but also a lot of documents that haven't been forthcoming and National Common Cause and the Center for Media and Democracy are waiting for. We know that there is lobbying contact between ALEC and legislators. Why is it then that they don't register in Wisconsin as a lobbying organization? Why is it that they don't have to pay any sales tax or taxes on their work here? My organization, Common Cause, consists of myself, a part-time staff member. We lobby as a C4. We're a 501c4. We, under the tax code, have to pay taxes because we lobby the legislature on issues like campaign finance reform or redistricting reform. Just a relatively few number of issues, but nevertheless we make contact with legislators. ALEC, I think, as this report and others have shown, is in contact with the very highest members of the Wisconsin legislature, and yet they are somehow able to be prevented or not have to file as a lobbying organization, but instead as a tax-exempt charity. I think that makes a mockery of our tax law. The second thing I'm very concerned about, and the fact is that the Center for Media and Democracy have, in March, launched or already asked the Government Accountability Board to look at it, and GAB is a little busy right now, I understand that, but I hope it's something that they will look into shortly. And that is the whole question of how it is that these so-called scholarships are not a violation of the Wisconsin lobby law. As Lisa suggested, back in the 1950s, Wisconsin was the first state in the country to really come down on the connection between lobbyists and legislators with regard to providing something of value so that there would be influence. In many state capitals around the country, it's common for legislators to go out to dinner and receive lavish gifts and trips all over the country, all over the world. But in Wisconsin, for 50 years, that has not been allowed. It is the cup of coffee rule. Anything beyond a cup of coffee you cannot provide to a legislator because it's something of value, and there would be a sense of being beholden. how is it then that ALEC is able to fly legislators and their families to posh resorts all over the country for the purpose of putting them together with corporate lobbyists and then having them hammer out these quote-unquote model pieces of legislation that are then sort of sent by the truckload all over the country for introduction into the legislatures of the 50 states. And obviously, as this report shows, quite a few of them have made their way into Wisconsin. So we would like the Government Accountability Board to take a renewed look at this particular, what I think is a violation of the lobby law and a mockery of our law. And then just let me say in conclusion, you know, I think Wisconsinites need to be concerned about organizations like ALEC. You know, for many years, legislators would go to places around the country to get together with other legislators, and it was through something called the National Council of State Legislatures. That's very different. I'm often asked by some of my friends who have a different view than me, why don't you go after the NCSL? Well, the difference is because when a legislator goes on an NCSL trip, it's paid for by the taxpayers. They have to submit it, and it has to be justified. The legislator, if he's going to go to Denver or whatever city he's going for an NCSL conference, has to be able to defend himself to his constituents by saying, yes, I used your tax money to go to a conference so that I could be better prepared in this area or I could learn more about this. But there's accountability there. With ALEC, there's no accountability. We don't know exactly how much money these legislators are reimbursed. ALEC itself says it doesn't supply scholarships, which is astonishing. But of course they do. So what we need to do is find out how the money is reimbursed to these legislators. And it would be very helpful, by the way, if the legislators themselves would be more forthcoming about how it was that they were able to go to Phoenix or New Orleans or many of the other places that they go to. You know, I think Wisconsin citizens have a right to know that. So again, I'm honored to be here. This is great work that they're doing, and while we have great interest in many of the things contained in this report, it's obviously the 501c3, C4 controversy and the scholarships that today concern me the most. Thank you.